Welcome to the How To series. The How To series is designed to meet the needs of businessmen who are trying to understand the ropes of doing business in Nigeria. Today we have with us a special guest, Dr. Olugbero Oyekon. He's the Dean of the International School of Management. He has come to talk to us about management culture in Nigeria and how his school is also trying to contribute to improving what is on ground. Welcome to our program, sir.
Thank you very much. Pleased to be here.
So you've been in your school has been operating for a number of years now.
Yes.
You've also done research in management, as you see locally. What exactly is our management culture, and what are the issues we face in terms of management in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to say that Nigerians, both corporate and academic institutions, don't do enough research. So if we're talking about what research is saying about our management culture, we'll be looking at more about what foreign research is talking about, because most of our local research, they don't deal with the issues the way they are. And again, that's because the data available to most researchers are not robust enough, or they are not finely segmented. That being said, generally Nigerians do not have a good management culture. Well, maybe not adequate, to the level expected of a modern day business or business people, or people who are responsible for leading the public resources. So, and you see that from our maintenance culture, because when we talk about management, it also has a resonance effect on how you maintain the rest of the things. So when you look at our maintenance culture generally, it tells you more about how we manage our resources, and the results are out there for us to see. People don't do, they don't have a good management culture or maintenance culture for different number of reasons. Some people run business and public resources the way they will run their own personal things, and if such people are naturally reckless, you should expect that they will approach a lot of things from those perspectives. So basically, some cultural reasons, yes, the way people have done businesses in the past, and they are not yet aware that the party is over, and a lot of people are still struggling to cope with that reality. But it's just something we have to learn, but I'm not sure we're doing a good job yet.
How would you, if you were to compare management in the public sector and management in the private sector, would you say we are at a level, at those two levels?
We're not at the same level, they are different. In aggregate terms, you will think that the private sector is more involved in management than the public sector. That is, in general terms. But we can't leave out the factors brought in by individual differences and experiences. So there are also some individuals in the public sector that have superior, management skills and ability. But sometimes the environment where they find themselves also limits what they can do. So it's difficult to really say it's better in the private sector than in the public sector. But on general terms, if you look at it from the surface of it, it does seem like the private sector embraces management better than the public sector. That's the way it is. And that's also because in private sector there seems to be a little more of accountability demanded from those who are in charge of resources. In the public sector, things are a little more relaxing. Accountability is not that stringent amidst most managers of public resources.
Okay. Do you think that the public sector can imbibe some of the attitudes which are demonstrated in the private sector in this country?
Yes, I strongly believe so. Majority of the times it depends on the person in charge of the things at the top, the leadership of those places. I also want to believe that even those in public sectors who do not take to management principles the way they should, they're that way not because they don't know what to do. A lot of them know what to do. They know how to take decisions, but ulterior motives and compromises make them behave the other way. So I really believe that there's no skills or competencies required for good management that they can imbibe within a short time.
You've also worked with small businesses. What have you seen working with small businesses? What are the mistakes they make most of the time?
Okay, I think that most of the problems of small businesses that operate in Nigeria emanate from both societal and cultural practices. People run businesses with wrong assumptions and practices. For example, if you are a small business owner and you don't see that there's a difference between your personal resources and that of your firm, a problem is bound to ensue. And if you are also a small business owner and you don't have structure, you run your business like you run a typical nuclear family. You have policies that you don't take to, you put rules and regulations in place that you think it's only your employees that are subject to them, that you are above the rules. So it would generally affect the way a lot of people run their businesses and the result they get, in the long run. A lot of small businesses get good revenues from the work they do, but at the end of the day, when you look at the way they manage it, even when they retain consultants to help them structure their organizations, they still don't submit themselves to those rules and the models put in place for them. So most of the problems of small businesses are wrong assumptions, wrong processes, that old theories, so to say, that they have imbibed over the years and they are not habits they are not willing to let go of. I dare tell you that for anybody to run a small business successfully, such person must be a very disciplined person. If you are not so disciplined, because the problem is this: government rules and regulations demanded from the small business owners are such that if you don't know how to manage your resources, you can find out that you're just working for government and you have nothing to save. And so the rules, the regulations for taxation and all of them are really biting hard on small businesses owners. And so there's got to be a way to manage that, making sure that you fulfill your duties under the law and at the same time fulfill your duties of contract of employment. Your client and contractors are there. So it goes beyond just having a business. It needs a lot of seriousness and discipline. It needs a lot of accountability to yourself also.
The average listener at home is interested when you say a business owner has to be very disciplined.
Yeah.
Can you highlight to us the areas which discipline comes in terms of probably financial management?
Yeah.
What's the other areas?
Okay, there is something I want to mention for the benefit of this person. The way most of the people, including some of our academics, treat the subject of entrepreneurship can be somewhat misleading. Because what they make a lot of people understand that everybody can be an entrepreneur. But in the real sense of it, it's not everybody that can be an entrepreneur. You know, to be an entrepreneur, it takes that creativity, doggedness, long suffering, hard work, diligence, you know, to be able to make it through entrepreneurship. And that's where all of those disciplines comes from. What level of sacrifices are you willing to make in terms of your resources? Are you willing to sacrifice your personal pleasure for the good of the business? Are you willing to consider delayed gratification? Like you think that you will make money at the end of the day, not right now. Are you willing to, you know, subject your own ego, you know, put it under control while you allow street business sense to take over? So there are those rules that will make an average business thrive. And discipline means that you will subject yourself to all of those rules and follow them religiously. It's only that way that, you know, a small business owner will have disciplined himself.
Going through your website, there's a research on entrepreneurial theory.
Yeah.
So, can you give us, I mean, is a snapshot of what you discovered when you researched into this area of management?
Okay, you know, entrepreneurship talks about the ability of an employee to see business opportunities and take that opportunity for the good of his own employer. So, like if I work for a company and I see other business opportunities opening up, rather than resign and go to seize that opportunity for myself, I could call the attention of my employers to it and say, this is an opportunity. If we do this business this way, it will yield us. It can be a bit difficult thing to do, especially for employees that are not really engaged in the sense that they don't have that emotional and affectional commitment to the ideals of the organization. So if you work for a company that you think is a cheat, or you have bosses who take glory of your own initiative for themselves, then you don't have an incentive to be entrepreneurial. So, but there are very smart organizations who encourage their employees to be entrepreneurial. Some of them create employee ownership schemes that allows employees to own part of the organization for, you know, when they stay long in the service of the organization. Some of them also give employees, they make like revenue sharing formula that says if you bring this kind of business, you can take this kind. So for a company to be really entrepreneurial, the leadership of the company should also find means to position the contract of employment in ways that makes entrepreneurial, that creates incentive for entrepreneurial activities. But generally, I think that especially for large corporations, it might really be a very difficult thing to do because the corporations are large. It is difficult for someone that is like a junior staff to see business idea and move up to the senior cadre to express is usually difficult. So entrepreneurship might be better at the SME levels than the large corporation.
Very interesting. You have been at the International School of Management, ISM,
yes,
for a number of years.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the vision behind the school and what your experience has been so far?
Okay, thank you. Before joining ISM, I worked with some banks previously, and then academics is something I've always liked, and the experience has been rewarding. That's that, by the way. As per the vision of ISM, we want to be a highly ranked and respected Nigerian academic institution, and we want to achieve that through helping people and their businesses to attain global leadership stature. We can achieve that. We try, we have in place teaching methodologies that builds on the experience and individual talents of our students to achieve actionable knowledge sharing and practice. So we try to create superior knowledge that is also very inclusive. So when we design programs and the delivery format, we factor in the different learning styles of the different individuals who might be in our classes. So before most of our classes and short trainings, we make sure that we have an interaction with, for example, if someone is on our program that is starting next week, by this week we will have started engaging the person through our online platform. That allows us to gauge the expectation of the students and also allows us to engage with them in very efficient ways.
And how have the outcomes been in terms of those you trained? Do the organizations come back to see this?
You know, between you and I, one of the best ways to determine satisfaction in those you provide services for is if they come back or if you get referrals from them. And majority of our people do come back and we get a lot of referrals. That's why you may not see our adverts and billboards all over the place, but we are still in business because we leverage strongly on very strategic marketing and we enjoy very good referrals from the majority of our alumni.
What makes your school different? Because you have a number of business schools also operating in Lagos.
Yes.
What makes you stand out?
Okay, we try to remain a niche brand business school. We don't want to be a business school that can cater to the need of everybody. I mean, we will get the model wrong by doing that. So even though the market is not finely segmented, but we can target our own part of the market, and that's what we have remained, at for a long time. And in terms of difference, we do not teach our students what the book says. And that's what I said earlier. We leverage on their experience and their individual talents to teach them. So we don't teach people what the book says. We mix both theory and practice, and we try to balance the two so that immediately people graduate from our courses and programs, they can find the knowledge useful almost immediately. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. We've been talking to Dr. Olugbero Oyeka, Dean of International School of Management. He has told us that businesses face a lot of challenges, but those that are resilient, those that are disciplined, come out successful at the end of the day. This has been a section of the How To series. My name is Obodo Ejiro. Thank you for watching the program.